Congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me. Let's start with McGregor. The Biden administration's Bureau of Land Management finalized what was the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan. They did it on the way out the door, December of 2024. It occurred not even a week after our Governor Mark Gordon, submitted his appeal to the proposed plan. The final plan is going to devastate the people of Southwest Wyoming, lock up millions of acres of land and the local communities the entire state rely upon. Governor, the state legislature, the county commissioners, the local communities all strongly oppose this plan that came out in the final days of the Biden administration. Will you commit to work with my office and the state to undo this disastrous plan?
Sir, I'm very familiar with that plan, and I want to say that the law itself has a really important consistency review that is required to be conducted by the BLM. And it concerns me when you have a resource management plan that you work on for years and your ultimate result is something that ends up inconsistent with what the state would like. I think that's something we can absolutely work with you on.
So in terms of before implementing the Biden administration's flawed plan, you're going to continue to work with us?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The resource management plan for Buffalo, Wyoming. The Biden administration finalized a resource management plan for Buffalo, Wyoming field office. That's going to ban new coal leasing in the Powder River Basin, the most energy-rich area in the country. This is a short-sighted decision, is an insult to Wyoming communities and harmful to the American energy security. If confirmed, would you work with me to reverse this plan?
Sir, yes, I will work with you on that plan as well.
On oil and gas leases, the previous administration, I believe, had a disgraceful record on oil and gas management. President Biden blocked production at every turn, deferred over 600,000 acres from leasing in Wyoming that were previously cleared for oil and gas production. Glad to see there is already a lease sale in Wyoming this year. I think it needs to continue. If confirmed, will you work to offer additional acres for leasing?
Sir, conducting lease sales is a requirement of the law. I will obey the law, and we will issue lease sales.
Great. In terms of sage grouse, Wyoming is home to a large population of the greater sage grouse and its habitat. For over 15 years, Wyoming has been at the forefront of adopting new management approaches to protect the species. Our state has led successful efforts to balance conservation with economic development. The Biden administration proposed to designate over 600,000 acres in Wyoming as areas of critical environmental concern, also known as the ASACs. This is going to lock up thousands of acres in Wyoming, halting production and development across the state. Would you be willing to reopen the department's greater sage grouse management?
Sir, we worked on the sage grouse resource management plans in the last administration, and I was interested to learn that this issue is remaining and needs to be addressed, and we will work with you on it.
Great. In terms of federal grazing, the Department of the Interior plays a critical role in managing federal lands across the West. Almost half of the land in Wyoming is owned by the federal government. Land managed under multiple use is required to be managed without impairment of the productivity of the land. These are public places that people from Wyoming depend upon accessing for their livelihood. Congress directed grazing, timber harvesting, recreation, as well as energy and mineral development to take place on these lands. Will you support the multiple-use mandate of federal lands?
Absolutely, sir. That's the law.
Okay. With regard to the Colorado River Basin, the Colorado River flows through 7 states, and the upper basin includes Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. We need short and long-term solutions that provide Westerners the water that we need. More water storage, improved federal flexibility, better data, improved forecasting can help accomplish these goals. What do you think is the role of the department in these negotiations between the Colorado River basins, which are currently ongoing?
Sir, it sounds like I'll be spending a lot of time in Wyoming.
We appreciate it. We'd love to have you.
I think the role of the department is ensuring that we have a responsible solution that provides for the 40 million people who rely upon that water, but the solution must be state-based.
Okay. With regard to the grizzly bear is fully recovered. Greater Yellowstone ecosystem population of grizzly bear has been fully recovered for 20 years. Wyoming is proud of the role that we played in leading the recovery. Population has been delisted 2 times under both Democrat and Republican administration. It has been relisted by a federal judge. The only thing that Presidents Biden, Obama, Trump, and Bush all agreed on is that the grizzly bear is fully recovered. But we have federal judges who are taking a different approach. The Endangered Species Act was passed by Congress to protect species from extinction. Does it make sense for the federal government to manage and waste taxpayer dollars on a species that is in no danger of being extinct?
Sir, I believe we're borrowing some great talent from the state of Wyoming to assist us on a lot of these issues, especially as it relates to the grizzly bear and the science behind that decision.
Great. Mr. Danley, congratulations to you as well. Let's talk about advanced reactor demonstration projects, nuclear energy. Developing first-of-its-kind technology requires time and resources. This is especially true for nuclear energy. The Department of Energy's Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program is meant to help developers overcome these hurdles. It's work that's begun in earnest during the first Trump administration. Program was designed into law by President Trump, was signed into law by President Trump. Look forward to continuing this good work and getting the current projects over the finish line. If confirmed, will you ensure the Department of Energy remains committed to this mission?
Both the President and the Secretary have expressed their enthusiasm for next-gen reactors. I think they're almost certainly going to be part of any solution we have to meeting power demand. I have every intention of supporting the program and working with you on it.
Right. So Russian uranium. Last year, Congress passed legislation to ban imports of Russian uranium into the United States. Laws intended to revive American uranium production and strengthen our nuclear fuel supply chain. This is needed to reliably supply critical baseload power plants. The legislation must be implemented correctly. The Department of Energy has the discretion to provide waivers to companies seeking to import uranium from Russia. Do you agree that waivers should be used only as a last resort?
We need to remove our reliance for uranium on other countries. It's very difficult to have affordable, reliable, and secure energy if the fundamental inputs are in the hands of either adversarial or even hostile nations. And I absolutely agree that the waivers are designed only for use in extremis when you have to have the fuel.
All right. Because we're now seeing that sales of nuclear material are coming from China.
Which are coming from Russia.
Which are coming from Russia, exactly. I'm glad you know that, yes. Because the first Trump administration recognized our dependence on uranium imports to fuel our nuclear reactors as a national security risk. It convened the Nuclear Fuel Working Group to develop recommendations to address the issue. As an extension of the work in 2023, Congress passed the Nuclear Fuel Security Act to rebuild our nation's nuclear fuel supply chain. Congress repurposed $2.72 billion in 2024 in funding to support this goal. If confirmed, will you make it a priority to build and secure our nuclear fuel supply chain, including enrichment and conversion?
Senator, the entire supply chain from beginning to end for nuclear power has to be absolutely resilient and redundant within the United States, and the Department of Energy would not be fully discharging its functions if it didn't work on that.
But before ending this hearing, any other questions? Thank you. So for the record, I will ask you 3 questions addressed to each nominee before the committee. Will you be available to appear before the committee and other congressional committees to represent departmental positions and respond to issues of concern to Congress?
I will.
I will.
Are you aware of any personal holdings, investments, or interests that could constitute a conflict or create the appearance of such a conflict should you be confirmed and assume the office to which you've been nominated by the President?
I'm aware of no conflicts.
Sir, aside from the ones I disclosed when I discussed and will divest, no, there will be no conflicts.
Okay. Are you involved or do you have any assets held in blind trusts?
No.
No.
Thank you. I want to thank the witnesses, congratulate you, thank you for your testimony. All senators, we had a very good turnout for the questioning today. Questions for the record of the hearings are due by 6 p.m. this evening. The hearing is adjourned.